And it is Thursday, World Economic News. Let's start with this one. It's a tricky one. Calculated risk chart. Scatter chart. I've drawn the line across the middle. That's 0%. Anything above that is creating employment in manufacturing in the United States of America. Now these scatters, the blue and reds, are along the bottom axis, and as they go off towards the right, that means the ISM manufacturing index is looking really good. When it's out there to the right, it's looking really good. So generally the further right it goes, the more likelihood is it goes up above the zero line and creates manufacturing jobs. Now the two little green arrows I've pointed at his two little yellow circles. Now those little yellow circles are January and February of 2000 and now. And as you can see, they're extraordinarily good. But even though they're extraordinarily good, it's going to create just this side of bugger all manufacturing jobs. And what this chart really means is that things have got to be extraordinarily outlook positive in the United States for manufacturing to create a few jobs. But as soon as that positiveness drops back to just very good, even then manufacturing jobs will start becoming lost again. It really has set a very high standard necessary to create manufacturing jobs now in the United States. Anything else but extremely good is just falling backwards. Moving on. Average annual food expenditure as a function of household income, United States. I don't know what you want to make of this. Pause it and have a look. But you can see that they're in these 20% income bands, 20, 40, 60, 80, and then the rich buggers on the right. And how much they spend on food at home in grey, and how much they spend on food out in restaurants or cheap, nasty burger joints on the left in orange. I suppose it's vaguely interesting. I'll leave it with you to look into more if you wish. And I'll move on to this Grigor chart, which is oil price in black line. And for some reason, Grigor thinks it's some way connected to the SNAP program in San Bernardino County, California. And oil has done what oil has done, but we can see that going back to 2004, the amount of food stamp recipients in San Bernardino, California, in 2004 was 125,000, and it is now over 300,000. Oil related, almost definitely. How much correlation, I wouldn't like to say. But that's something going wrong there, isn't it? 125,000 to 300,000 snappists now in San Bernardino. Ouch. Private religious construction spending in the United States of America. Come on, you lot. I mean, really. I mean, booms and busts, but the good Lord needs you to spend money on temples and whatnot. It's only just positive at the moment. Any more of this and it'll be going negative, and there will be retribution. Fannie Mae. We know who they are. Serious delinquencies, total per loans. Now, as you can see, from 2003, absolutely flat until 2008. And then it took off, serious loans, right up to 13.8%. And it was coming down again. And it was likely that it would come down seriously as the serious loans. But it looks like it's levelling off at the two there. Seriously, the credit enhanced is levelling off at 10, and the seriously delinquent non-credit enhanced at 12. Very high rates. Still desperately dangerous for the housing market. Interesting chart again. This is just not particularly linked. It's just economic charts. Generally interesting. This is a Doug Short chart, with the gross federal debt as a percentage of GDP, famous enough ratio, with wars in the background there in grey instead of recessions. And you can see World War One took the ratio right up because they had to buy whiz-bangs for World War One. Then it was getting itself down again, and then it rose up in the Great Depression. That was more GDP going down as opposed to debt going up. Next great rise up was World War II, buying more whiz-bangs. And then since the end of the Second World War, the American economy boomed as the rest of the world was not falling behind. It just basically got well ahead of the rest of the world in productivity and everything else, and was the best time for the United States. And that debt ratio came all the way down, started moving up again in 1980. Whether the Gulf War or Iraq-Afghanistan wars have had anything to do with it, it's hard to say. But you can see something's having something to do with it now, because it is relentlessly moving up again. And there must be some reason for it. And I suspect it's because we have seen the end of the golden era of the United States of America, as the rest of the world has now caught up, and in many industries overtaken them. Tax.com. David K. Johnson writes, really bad reporting in Wisconsin. Who contributes to public workers' pensions? When it comes to improving public understanding of tax policy, nothing has been more troubling than the deeply flawed coverage of the Wisconsin state employees' fight over collective bargaining. A couple of things I'll just drag from this article from tax.com. These are tax experts. Economic nonsense is being reported as fact in most of the news reports on the Wisconsin dispute, the product of a breakdown of skepticism among journalists multiplied by their lack of understanding of basic economic principles. We know about those things, don't we? Lack of understanding of basic economic principles. Governor Scott Walker says he wants state workers covered by collective bargaining agreements to contribute more to their pensions and health insurance plans. Accepting Governor Walker's assertion as fact and failing to check created the impression that somehow the workers are getting something extra, a gift from taxpayers. They are not. Out of every dollar that funds Wisconsin's pension and health insurance plans for state workers, 100 cents comes from state workers. How can that be? Because the contributions, that's contributions as in they're not really contributions, consist of money that employees choose to take as deferred wages, as pensions when they retire, rather than take immediately in cash. The same is true with the health care plan. If this were not so, a serious crime would be taking place, the gift of public funds rather than payment for services. Later, by falsely describing the situation, the governor has sought to create the issue as one of the workers getting a favour. The Club for Growth in broadcast ads blatantly lies by saying state workers haven't had to sacrifice, they pay next to nothing for their pensions. We expect ideological marketing organisations to shade the truth and even outright lie, as the Club for Growth has done, but journalists are supposed to check the facts, not adopt lies as truths. Truths. Or truths? Okay, let's go to Nouriel Roubini. Why Portugal needs a bailout in one chart. And this is the one chart. And it's from OEC data. And Portugal is absolutely out there on its own as low-skilled, inflexible labour force. And if you read the article, it shows that there's no way you can just sort that out in no time flat. They basically need to tear everything up and start all over again. So somebody's got to pay them in the meantime to totally reform their entire working economy. Oops. The Telegraph. Co-UK, German, Irish brinkmanship raises EMU stakes. Kind of talked on that yesterday, where it was, it's between, it doesn't matter. I'm going to pull out another part of this article just to kind of remind us that it's March and these EU people are having a big meeting this month and they are going to sort everything out. German Finance Minister Wolfgang Schäuble is hoping for a grand bargain in which weaker EMU states agree to stringent discipline in exchanging for a boost in the bailout fund, hoping this will assuage critics at home. They're still calling it a bailout. It's quite interesting. It's not really bailing out. Nothing's being given. It's just being lent. However, Germany's plan for budget vetting, as in, give us your budgets, let's have a look, and intrusive reforms set off a storm at an EU leaders' dinner earlier this month, with some calling it a diktat that trampled on sovereign prerogatives. Mr. Schäuble has dug in his heels, insisting that the German government is not willing to make any compromise on this issue. And that's how they are going to go at this right up to the meeting. We are not going to move. And the others going, it's a big, big meeting. And I think it looks to me as though there has been a great boosting of the euro currency prior to this meeting, so that after the meeting it can all go diddly down a snake and down again and end up in a place where it started from in the first place. See what I mean? Why is the euro so strong at the moment? There's no reason for the dollar to be so weak, and there's absolutely no reason for the euro to be strong. So why is the euro strong? I think it's just being strong at the moment, so it can then go weak again. No, do I think that? I don't know. Anyway, leave you to what you think. Bye.